We're at Goat Shed and we're here with
Asim Zaidi, head coach of Goat Shed and Karate Combat president.
our first question is what gave you the idea to create Karate Combat?
Well, what we needed to do was we need to create a striking league that everyone can relate to. And look, Glory tried to come here. A lot of kickboxing leagues tried to come to America, and it just didn't work. Karate Combat is different. It's more realistic. You can do your takedowns. You can grind and pound. It's a very exciting way to have a striking battle. So I think that's why the audience really loves it.
How do you see the popularity of Karate Combat rising in the next 10 years?
Oh my God. So with Karate Combat right now, it's skyrocketing in popularity. You know, in just 1 year, I've only been president for like a year and a couple months now. And I think everybody's really loving what we're doing over here. Over the next 10 years, I really predict it's going to be the top level striking league. Everyone in the world is going to be watching. When you want to see the best strikers in the world, you're going to watch Karate Combat. And what you have to do to achieve that, you have to tell the fighters stories. You have to get people to relate to the fighters, to love the fighters, and we're starting to do that now.
What are your top 3 prospects in Karate Combat?
Oh, wow. Great question. Look, there's a ton. If you haven't been watching, Ailini Pereira is phenomenal. That's Alex Pereira's sister.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is she fights just like him. And she has the same knockout left hook. Have you seen the fights?
Yeah, she went like that and she went boom.
Yeah,
boom.
she stands
Yeah.
like him. Left hook. Knockout. Unbelievable. Just like her brother. She's a standout. If you watch Robelis de Spain, he's knocking people out in 2-3 seconds. I don't know how it's possible. And we have a couple fighters, Shazay Brind and Arturo Vergara. Both of them came from their countries with nothing. They were no-name athletes and homegrown in Karate Combat. Right now, they are national heroes in their country. Both of them are world champions with Shazay Brind and Arturo Vergara.
How did Karate Combat get so popular?
Say it again, one more time.
How did Karate
Okay.
Combat get so popular?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's not one specific thing. You need a whole team around you to be successful. Like, for instance, right now you guys are working together. If you were alone, much more difficult. I always say, if you want to go fast, you can go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. You build a team like this. The men, wonderful men behind the camera, wonderful men in front of it. And when you have that, you can do something really special. So the team behind Karate Combat is just phenomenal, and the roster is just awesome.
You put one of your own fighters asleep when he was arguing. Could you ever see Dana White doing that in the future?
Oh, no, I don't think I don't think Dana White would ever do that, you know. But this is maybe because my fighter instinct kicked in. I don't know what it was. I had a show going on. There was madness in the crowd. I have my wife, my little brother, my father, my mother. I said, no. We need to stop this right now. So I tried to do it in the safest way possible. And I went up to the fighter afterwards. He actually fights. You know, I went to the fighter after. I said, look, if you're very upset, when everyone leaves, we can spar, just you and I in the pit, no cameras, nothing, and we can settle the differences. And he says, no. He's like, I respect you. Thank you for not hurting me. And we're okay. So we settled everything.
You've gotten people who've left the UFC to come to Karate Combat. What does that mean to you? Because UFC is such a big name.
I absolutely love the UFC. And one thing I'm doing different than the PFL or, GFL or all these organizations, I never want to compete with the UFC. I want to be known as the greatest striking league on the planet. I don't want to enter into MMA. I really feel UFC is the king of MMA, and I want them to win, keep winning. I have a lot of fighters in the UFC. I love how the UFC is skyrocketing. I want to be the greatest striking league in the world, and that's the objective. So right now, with some UFC fighters, their passion may not be the grappling and the wrestling. Maybe they just love striking, and they can go ahead and prosper in our organization because we're a pure striking league. Like, look at Robelis, for example. In the UFC, he had to wrestle on the wall. People were holding him. They were stalling him. And in Karate Combat, everyone is forced to strike with him, and now you can see his power,
I got people like Sam Alvey and Mohammed Makayev's coming, isn't he?
Let's go.
So that's like such big names.
Yes.
And Karate Combat's going to skyrocket in the future when more people come.
Yes, sir. I really believe it, especially what you just said, Mohammed Mokaev. A lot of people have their eyes on him, and they want to know what are his next moves. And the fact that he trusts Karate Combat to make that next step, it just means so much for us. I want to thank, obviously, Brave for taking care of him and allowing him to fight with us and trusting us. We're going to treat this guy very well, and I really want to tell the story of Mohammed Mokaev because he's very misunderstood. He's a phenomenal athlete. He's undefeated, very, very young. So you're going to hear a lot about him in the next coming weeks.
Why did you create this gym in Miami called Goat Shed?
So I'll tell you what. When I was an amateur coach, I was the head coach of the U.S. team for the amateur MMA team. When I was traveling around, we had a lot of champions in Florida, and the promoter came to me and says, "You know what? You have all the goats, because all my guys, they wouldn't lose. It's like, you have all the goats." I said, "Okay, goats." And we started expanding on the name, and we said, "Okay, where do goats live?" Okay, I guess they live in a shed. And at the time, we didn't have much money. We weren't very successful. I said, "Okay, we're going to open up a gym in a garage. This is our goat shed. It's not a first-class facility with all the beautiful front desk stuff, but it's a grimy gym, and it's going to build champions." So we call it the Goat Shed. But now we're going to be moving. We're opening a Karate Combat Apex. The Goat Shed is going to be out of there. So just like the UFC has their Apex, they throw events every month. We're going to have a Karate Combat Apex. We're going to throw events every month. And now Goat Shed will finally get the facility it deserves with all these amazing fighters.
Are you gonna put Goat Shed anywhere else, or is it just gonna stay in Miami?
Oh, you asked a very good question that no one's ever asked me. That's a very good question. I don't want to give too much information, but we're in talks with some very, very big people across the Middle East. So maybe you'll see a Goat Shed in Dubai, in Saudi, in Abu Dhabi very soon. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, good luck in the future, and thanks for being on Combat Kids.
Yes, of course. Pleasure. Let's do one Karate Combat bout. Like this. Os.
Us.
Os.